Dany Flores.
First of all, I want to tell you that I am extremely grateful and extremely excited to be here with you. This, my friends, let me tell you, this is going to be my first English speech. So, this is going to be a day I will never forget. And so, all of you. So thank you for being here, thank you for having me, and well, let's begin. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dany Flores. I'm 36 years old. I live in Mexico City. Welcome to Mexico, amigos. I'm a fashion and textile designer by profession. I worked over 10 years in the corporate world as a buyer for one of the most large companies in Mexico called Liverpool, a department store. So I've been growing and building this business for almost 4 years now. More potential, but I just didn't know what to do with it. So I opened myself up to what the stranger from Instagram had to say. And when Emilia actually presented me with this opportunity, with this gift, and when I saw $40,000 in commissions on the compensation plan, I looked at her and told her, Emilia, I want that. Like, what do I have to do and how do I do it? I always share that it wasn't about the number. I mean, it wasn't about the $40,000. It was about the quality of life I saw I could create through this vehicle. So I started with a lot of passion and with a lot of vision. I always share that I started and I connected mainly with two words. The first is possibility, and the second is balance. Possibility because I actually fell in love with the possibility of designing my own days, designing my life. At that time, I was still working at corporate, so 9 to 6. My schedule didn't really belong to me. So I remember I started imagining how would a Monday in my perfect life would look like. And I started thinking, okay, I would wake up slow, early but slow. I would take my cup of coffee, my cappuccino, I love cappuccino. I would, exercise, my Pilates class, yes. I would jump into meetings that I actually enjoy. I would, go to my in-laws to have lunch any random Tuesday. I would scroll in Sarah.com and buy whatever I like. I love Sarah. So, I just connected with this vision and I fell in love with it. And also, balance. Because when I was little, my dad went through a tough financial situation. So it was my mom who carried me and my older sister and the younger brother through it. She carried us on her shoulders. So I remember I saw my mom work so hard, and this is emotional for me. I saw my mom work so hard, and even as a kid, I had 10, 12 years, and I was like, how will I do it? How will I be able to, when I grow up, be a present mom when I have kids? That's one of my dreams. And also, be financially independent. I couldn't get my head around that equation. So when Emilia came to me with this gift, I just knew it in my heart. This is it for me. So I think you could say I started with a lot of inspiration from the vision I had for my life. And I started with I don't know, like what I had and with who I was in that moment. We often talk a lot about motivation, right? You tell someone that starts the business, you have to be motivated to grow your business. You have to be motivated to start. But I don't think that's true. Because at the end of the day, motivation is just another emotion. You're happy, you're sad, you're anxious, you're excited, you're motivated. If you wait until you feel motivated to start building and growing your business, you will probably be waiting a long time. So that's why I always say that your vision and whatever it is that truly and deeply inspires you, that is your starting point. Your vision is your engine. And often people ask me, like, Dany, how did you start? You know, like, how did you do it? And I always tell them, well, I started by starting. I started before I felt ready. I started with fear. I started with discomfort. I remember thinking, what are people going to think about me now that I'm washing my face on Instagram? Like, that's weird. That's weird. But I realized that you will never feel ready to begin something that makes you uncomfortable. So I started with what I had, with what I knew, and with who I was. So often we want to feel ready for taking action. But the truth is, my friends, it's the other way around. You first take action, like me today, speaking in English. You first take action, then you learn, then you grow, and then you evolve. So, I don't know, like since the beginning of this journey, I've always seen myself as a very good student. You know, I always did what my uplines told me to do. Like, I moved quickly. And because of that, I started seeing results. And that's huge, because results build confidence. Confidence in the products, confidence in your business, confidence in the compensation plan, but most importantly, confidence in yourself. And let's be honest here. You need that confidence to keep moving forward. So that's how I hit Team Elite. No. That's how I hit Brand Rep. And that's how I started inviting. I think that, inviting. I think that when I say that word, everyone's like, oh no, right? It's uncomfortable. But I guess that so often we get stuck around inviting because, as Nathan Riggs used to say, when you are not inviting, you're actually thinking about yourself. The fear of no, the fear of rejection, the fear. But when you actually start thinking about the other, I can promise you, I can assure you, there wouldn't be enough time in one day for you to invite everyone. Because remember, it's not about what you say, that's not important. It's about the energy and the intention behind your words. And I think that for me, that has been key. Like since the beginning of this business, I think that I have been very, or at least tried to be very genuine with what I saw. Because I honestly couldn't believe a business like this existed. I was like, what? Is this real life? You know, like, this is amazing. So I really felt the need to go out and tell everyone, tell the whole world. And that's exactly what I began to do. I started telling everyone. And when I say everyone, it's everyone. No joke. So that's how the ranks started flowing. You know, gold, lapis, ruby, emerald. And when I hit emerald, I think that was a huge turning point in my life because I was still working on the side while still being in corporate. But my heart was already 100% with New Skin. I remember that was a time of, well, full of discomfort and a lot of fear because I wanted to quit my job, but I just was afraid of leaving something safe. Have you ever been there? Yes.
Yes.
But I think that there was also a time of a lot of bravery. I took the step I needed to take so my business would grow. So I made the decision to quit my job, to quit my 10-year career, to go full Muslim. I think that was one of the biggest decisions I've ever made. But I also think that was one of the biggest lessons this business has given me. Because so often we wait for external permission, something external, to give us internal permission to act. I remember I thought, like, okay, I'll quit when I make more money at New Skin than at my work. When? I'll quit when I hit Blue Diamond. When? I'll quit when I hit Elite. No. What I learned is that the result always comes as a consequence of what you do, yes, but most importantly, of who you are. I love believing that when you take a step of bravery towards your dreams, the universe has no other option than to take 1,000,000 steps towards you. And that's exactly what happened. Because when I quit my job, my business started to do this. Literally. I think that I felt like I stepped into full alignment. You know? What I want, what I do, what I think, and what I say. I began being the person who already had that result. Even if I didn't have it at the moment. I'm being that person from within. I remember asking myself, okay, how is Dany Flores, like how does she present herself to life? What are her habits? What is her morning routine? What's her schedule like? How does she train? What does she eat? How consistent she is? And that is very, very powerful because when you begin being that person, the results always come as a consequence of that. So at that moment, my business started exploding, literally. There have been a lot of lessons in this journey, but another deal breaker for me has been and was taking full responsibility for my business. It is so easy to blame others. I don't grow because my team they don't sell. They don't even grow because they don't grow. Have you said that? Raise your hand who has thought that. Don't be shy. Well, I did think that. But look at this. When you point at someone, you have one finger pointing out, but 3 fingers pointing back at you. So when you understand that this business starts and ends with you, everything starts changing. Everything starts shifting. I started letting go of what I don't control, and I started focusing on what I did. You don't control if someone connects with the opportunity. No. You don't control if someone decides to actually start the business. No. You don't control if someone decides to grow in their business. You don't control that. You do control how many how many doors you knock on. You do control how many seeds you plant. And you do control how consistent you are. Consistency, that's my favorite word. Consistency. Nothing beats consistency. So if you want your team to grow, you grow. If you want your team to enroll, you enroll. If you want your team to go and win all the trips, you go out and win them first. Well, you all did, so congratulations. But this business starts within you. If you want unicorns to show up in your business, guess what? You have to become the unicorn first. Yes, this has been a journey, a beautiful journey, full of lessons, full of experiences. But if I would have told you, if I can tell you, the thing that has been completely like the key for me in this whole journey of building my business, I think that would be actually enjoying the process. You know, the small things, the day-to-day life. I love this quote that says, "The person who falls in love with walking will always get further than the person who is only in love with the goal." I will repeat it again. The person who falls in love with walking will always get further than the person who is only in love with the goal. So, if you're able and capable of acknowledging everything this business gives you from day one, if you're able to fall in love with that, you will never want to stop walking. And if you never stop walking, learning, and growing, the result will always come as a consequence of that.